We got Sean Beats with us today, straight out of the VA. So we're gonna chop it up. We got a beat tape out right now. I didn't get an actual name for the beat tape. I got the tracks, I got the cover work, but what's the actual name of the beat tape?
The name of the beat tape is called Cold Hour. It's Cold Hour, not Cold Hours, because I had did a little research and somebody else had that name, so I
Right.
had to switch it around just to make sure it was straight.
Keep the intellectual property correct. We don't
Right.
get no trademark and copyright infringements and all that jazz. So that's good. I mean, is this the first project? This is the first beat tape?
This is actually the second one. The second one is called Hell's Kitchen, but
Okay.
that one to me it just didn't really sound right. Like the mix was kind of off. So I took it down like maybe a couple months ago and then put it back up again because when I listened in the car, it didn't really sound good. And then I heard it on the laptop, and it didn't. So I just took it off and then I uploaded it back up.
Okay. So we jumping a little ahead of ourselves before we get into the beat tape. But as I said, we got 5 tracks, so we're gonna spread out the conversation, dive a little deeper, just to spread it out. But now you mentioned it didn't sound good in the whip. So what's your sound test like? How do you test your sound? What is the usual process? Is it just the headphones? Is it the whip? Is it the some other kind of
Um,
studio
I usually
setup?
start off with the I start with the whip sometime, but I have arcades Rocket Fives and I play them up there sometimes just to make sure everything sounds good before I upload everything. But then I really wasn't good at mixing, but course the courses of the months I kind of got better. And, I started using the car when I I guess you can say first started out, but then I kind of went to the KRK speakers.
Okay. Are you self-taught as far as the mixing is concerned, or you had like someone who kind of had you under their wing, showing you the ropes?
Me is more self-taught, like a lot of YouTube videos. Yeah, just really me just teaching myself over the course of the years.
Okay. What was the most difficult part of the whole mixing process that you kind of took a while to really get the hang of?
Um, Me, it's more just making sure all the instruments are clashing. Like I just learned like a few months ago, like mixing in the mono would really help you because you'll be able to hear all the instruments in the mix. Before that, I was just I mean, not mastering, but mixing the stereo, which caused me not to hear all the instruments and everything was just clashing all
Mm,
together.
okay, okay. Now VA, walk us through a little bit of VA history. We've had some VA guests on before because there's a lot of dope producers from VA. We all know the usual suspects. Which are some of the ones that most inspired you? Either it's VA or, some of the legends in general.
Um, Mostly like VA legends like the Neptunes, Pharrell, Chad, Hugo, Timbaland. And then outside of Virginia, it's more been like Wonder Girl, Boy Wonder, and I already said Boy Wonder, but Metro Boomin.
Crazy. That's a very wide range and very dope. Like from Timbo to Boy Wonder, Neptunes to Wonder Girl, Metro, of course. How much of that do you think has in fact impacted the current sound of VA? Like what the legacy of the Timberlands and the Pharrell? Obviously, the sound out there now is totally different from what they were doing. But how much of an impact do you think that sound has on what's going on today in VA specifically?
It has a lot of impact. For example, with the Neptunes, at first, a lot of people wasn't feeling their sound, but the problem was they was just ahead of their time. And the stuff that you heard back in the day is actually what you're hearing now, like the synthesizers and just some of the more guitar stuff. But back then it wasn't really accepted. But now I think you're starting to hear more of the, guitars and just a lot of synthesizers and stuff like that.
Okay. What's your entry into the game? Like at what point did you, I know who you were influenced by, but when did you actually pick up the mantle and say this is what I want to do as a producer?
A little bit before then, I was more like I've been always into music, like ever since I was a little kid. Like I remember my aunt used to tell me that I would take utensils and just bang it on the pots and pans and stuff. But really, I didn't start making beats till like 16, like like around high school.
Okay. Okay, dope, dope, dope. All right, well, let's get into it. We got 5 tracks. I'm sure they're all flames, all wave files, so I know they're all going to sound high quality. The first one is called Citrus. Any reason for the name of this, and what's the story behind how this beat came about? Why is this the opening track?
Well, Citrus, the sample in there is actually my sample. Like I just sampled myself. Actually, it's from the sample pack called Dark Out, well, not Dark Hours, but Dark Phase Volume 2, well, Volume 3. And I just decided to sample myself because I never sampled myself before. I just wanted to try it out and see how it sounds. And the original opening track is Lost Causes, but I had sent them in various of orders. So I mean,
Okay,
it doesn't matter.
okay, okay. Well, let's jump into it. This is called Citrus. This is off the beat tape called Cold Hour. Sean Beats, VA Zone. Let's jump into it. Nice, nice opening track. Is there a reason why you chose that one to open it off, other than the fact it's just dope and would make a dope opening track?
Yeah, I think it set the tone, like you said. It's very dark, very a lot of synthesizers in there. So I just chose just to, set some off like a more of a hype vibe. So that's why I chose that one.
Okay. What's the creative process? To kind of walk us through, like how do you get into the creative space? How do you get into the creative zone? What's it like for you? Average day in the studio.
Most of my beats I make from home. Like I say, I have KRK speakers. Usually my process, I start out with the melody, but before then, when I was starting out, I would start with the beat, and the beat would just not come out like I wanted to. So I just
You mean you start out with
switched
the
it.
drums? Are you saying the drums specifically?
Yeah, my bad. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
The drums, I would start off with the drums, and then I would go on to the melody. But at first, when I would play it back, it didn't sound right to me. So that's why I just switch it around and starting with the melody and then the drums.
Okay. All right. I guess I mean it's a process. So that's a part of the process, learning what works for you, what you want to start with, how you want to come at it, how you want to attack it. You prefer working alone in the studio producing?
Uh yeah, sometimes, but then I'll prefer like people just to hear my beats, just to make sure everything sounds right. Um I always like second opinions. I may ask a family member or just a friend in general that I know really well
Right.
who is honest with me and, try to give me some feedback if it doesn't sound right.
Okay. Is there a collective involved with your sound, or is it just Sean Beats, the individual producer?
Uh, it's been first Al, and then it's another guy came named JC Owens. He works with First
Right.
Al a lot, so
Right.
we've been collabing a lot. Especially actually on this beat tape, there's a beat called Sam Hain. We collab together, and we got some. Me and First Al, we got some stuff up on SoundCloud too.
Okay, that's dope. That's what this is, the VA click right there.
Yeah,
We need a team battle with VA because VA alone would handle pretty much any state, any city I can think of. There's a lot of heat coming out of VA. I don't know if it's something in the water, but it's definitely a thing. Is break VA down for us because from the outside we hear Virginia Beach, we hear Virginia. For those that don't understand, kind of break down the regions in VA and who's putting out what. Like what's the specific parts of VA that's actually putting out the heat that we might not be aware of, without putting
for
you on the hot
me,
spot, of course.
um, I would have to say maybe Norfolk, where First Al's from. Um, a little bit of Virginia Beach, but mostly Norfolk because they just be coming out with stuff all the time.
Okay.
So I would have to say Norfolk the most.
Where is a place back in the day because there was a rapper that Nas used to work with called Quan, and he was from a
Hmm.
place called Bad News. What part of VA is Bad News?
That is Newport News. The reason why they call it bad news because it's so much violence out there. But I think it died down. I don't really know, to be honest with you.
Right,
But that's why the name was called Bad News because every time you turn around, there's always some stuff going on, and
right, right.
that's how they got the name.
Okay, I'm sure areas like that are being gentrified. Most of the areas like that, whether it's New York, um, wherever, Chicago, even Toronto, like a lot of the places that used to have that reputation are all being gentrified and turned into condos, or people are getting dispersed to other parts of the city and whatnot. So I'm
Yeah.
sure that's happening over there as well. But back to the music. All right, let's get into the second track. We got Lost Causes. What's the story behind Lost Causes? How did this come to be? And what's the kind of energy around this one?
Well, Lost Causes, the sample in there is by Unknown. By the way, he's dope. By the way,
Crazy.
but
We're gonna hear more of that tonight.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna tune in. But the sample in there is from Unknown, and like I said, the pretty much the whole mixtape is like a dark sound. The typical dark sound.
Right.
But yeah, that's really all the background to it. To be honest with you.
Okay. All right. Well, let's jump into it. Lost Causes. We're gonna have some more to chop it up after we hear it. So let's jump right into it. Second track off of the Cold Hour beat tape out now by Sean Beats. Let's do it. Is there a specific artist you had in mind for a track like that?
Uh, Me, it was more Travis Scott. Um, Really not too many people. The only person I was thinking of was Travis Scott.
Okay.
But for one of the beats, I'll just go ahead and tell you. But for one of the beats called Sacrifice, I had DM him the beat. So you never know what can happen.
Right. Anything, hey, shoot your shot. That's the name of the
Exactly.
game. Shoot your shot. You just never know. But if you don't give it a try, you also will never find out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So just shoot your shot, whoever the artist is. Don't, be nervous of shooting it to anybody. If you think it's a dope beat for them, you might get in their manager's hands. It might get in their, like, I've had experiences where we went to, like, Nipsey's case, RIP to Nipsey, but we had um producers who, Benny D specifically, who we actually went to Nipsey's store, the Marathon in LA, just to hand him a beat CD. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So you just never know where it's gonna end up. I mean, his brother has the beat tape right now. Who knows? They still got, I'm sure, a whole bunch of vocals of Nipsey, so anything is possible. But I just say that to say, shoot your shot. Whoever the artist is, or whatever the case is, if you think they're a dope artist, pitch it. Nothing to lose.
Yep.
Um, let's get into a little bit more of you use any instruments? Any live instruments?
Uh, most of my instruments is more of computerized.
Okay,
So VSTs. I
right.
did used to play instruments back in the day, like guitar and trumpets, but I kind of got a little bit more comfortable with just playing on the computer.
Okay. What's your preferred DAW?
Mine is FL Studio.
Why am I not surprised?
Nah, but I did try abolition, but it's
Okay.
just to me it's just too difficult. Even
Right.
I had told first I was like, yeah, I tried it before too. And he was like, yeah, that was the same with him. He tried out FL Studios. He told me he was like, yeah, it just nah. So
Okay.
ever since then I just been with FL Studio.
What version you on?
Version right now is FL Studio 20.
Okay. Okay. Because I know a lot of people, they stuck on 9 or whatever, and they ain't moving. They don't care what the latest one is. They're comfortable. They know everything with that version, and they just stick to that version.
Yep.
My thought is you'd want the latest, but some people, they ain't with that. So they're comfortable with it. They don't want to change anything up, mess anything up. Just stick to what they know, and they comfortable
Hmm.
with that. Is there any specific plugins that you would recommend, or that are your preferred, plugins and things of that nature, or things you want
Mine's
to,
is more
any secrets you want to share with other producers?
um not really the secrets, but mostly like my preferred is Omnisphere. Second would be Contact, and then third would be I don't use it a lot, but I would go back to it if I wanted to, but it would be more like Nexus. So
Access. Okay. All right. Now, in line with your three secrets, what would be three artists you would want to work with if you had your pick of the litter? Which would be like, these are the three I would love to have my track in their hands. I put that out there in the air, see what happens.
most definitely. First again, Travis Scott. Third one would be maybe Jay-Z, and then well, did I say third or second?
You said Travis and Jay Z. I missed the first one then.
Okay. And then the third one would be maybe Kanye West, if
Kanye
possible.
West. Okay, the
I don't
six
know.
the 6.6 man, 6.6 billy man. Okay, that's a dope list. Kanye, Jay, and Travis. Okay, okay, all right. Anybody? I mean, Travis is fairly new, but is there anybody in the baby, little baby era, like the real new cats?
um, maybe little baby,
Okay,
you know,
okay.
or maybe both of the babies, the baby, little baby, if
I'm sure there'll be
possible.
another baby coming soon. But for
Yep.
those for right now, those two for right now. Any artists you have in the scope that we might not be familiar with? Could be in VA or other areas that you have your eye on that you like to get beats in, but they might not have hit the public's eye yet.
Um, More of JC Owens, because he besides making beats, he's more of an artist. Actually, we got a project too. I
Okay.
don't know where he gonna drop it, but more
Okay.
like him and then somebody else. I can't even think of the name.
Okay. Well, that's dope to have that because I mean, most producers that make it or man or producer managers, they always say find that one artist. Kind of cliche at this point, but find that one artist that you vibe with and just try to have that producer artist duo.
Hmm.
So I guess for you, JC Owens would be that dude.
Yeah.
Right. That's dope. That's dope to have that artist. It's kind of, I mean, it's in a sense, it's kind of experimental. Like whatever beat you come up with, that's the artist you could just toss it to, see if something can come out of it, see if they can rhyme over it, and see if something can happen. So that's it's dope to have that connection with a specific artist. Give me a crazy story producing for a producer in a studio, or you're sending them beats and just a crazy response or something like that.
Um, I can say it was one time. It was a I guess an Instagrammer. He just out the blue just text me, and he was like, "Yeah, I watched your beat battles. Your beats is dope." I was like, I appreciate it, man. And he was like, if you have any beats, you can send them my way. So I had sent him a beat, and I had sent him how much it cost and everything, and he just would not buy it. And then
Mm,
not too long ago, he had texted me again. He was like, "Hey, you still got that beat?" I was like, "Yeah, I got it." And
right.
I sent it to him again. Still haven't brought it yet. So I
Wow.
mean, it'll happen eventually. So
Right. 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 Is it? Do you think it's just the price, or you just think he's not serious? Or how did you analyze the situation since it happened twice?
me at this point is more of a price thing. I heard some of his music, it's pretty dope, but me it's more of a price thing. Which
Okay.
is I didn't really charge him that much anyway. So
Right. Right. He want the free meal package.
you can't always have everything for free.
Right. 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 No. No, sir. Bills don't get paid by free.
Yeah.
All right, we are locked into Sean Beats, straight out of VA. This is the beat tape. It's called Cold Hour. It's out now. Which platforms is it available on?
Everything. Well, except for SoundCloud, but I'm eventually gonna upload it up there.
Okay,
Right now it's on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, you know.
okay, all the usual suspects.
Yeah.
Very,
Yep.
very dope. Very, very dope. Now let me ask you this: between battle beats and beat, song beats, what's your way of kind of differentiating between the two? Which ones do you use for a battle? Because I've heard a lot of your beats actually that are definitely battle beats. But how do you make a difference to say, okay, this pack over here is going to be just for like something different other than battles?
Me, I'm more focused on the like the melody and the beat. I mean, not the beat, but the drums. And when I put everything together, I may go back and listen to it. And if I think it's a battle beat, like you said, I'll just put that to the side. If I think it's a beat that meant for artists, I'll put that to the side. So that's how I've always done it. And then I have like folders where I put for sale, sold, just to keep everything
Right.
organized.
Right. Do you try to because an artist asks you for a pack, let's just say you send him 10 beats. Are you just sending like the latest 10 beats you cooked up, or you're like going back into like a 2018 folder, 2019 folder? Is it always just the latest greatest you want to send artists, or you because some hit records that we hear on the radio might have been
Yeah.
produced 3 years ago, 4 years ago. You're hearing it for the first time, but to that producer that made it, that's like old news.
Hmm.
So when you're setting a pack, are you just giving them the latest, greatest, or you just digging into the pack and taking one from here, one from there, and sending them that?
Um, Me, it's like both. I may go back maybe 2, 3 years ago, and I may listen not only to the sound, but again the mix. And if the mix need fixing, I'll just go back and remix it and then send them off to the artist. But most of the time, it's been up the latest beats. So
Okay. Okay. All right. Dope. Now you touched on sacrifices. Why the name sacrifices for this particular beat that we got coming up?
um, for that beat, it's another sample in there. It's from For the Night. The sample is called Sacrifices. So, the usual. I just named it after the sample.
Okay. Nothing to do with the YouTube conspiracy videos of people having to do sacrifices in the music industry. None of that kind of stuff in it, right?
Nah, nah,
All
no
right.
Illuminati. No.
Right, right, all right, all right. So it's no Illuminati, nobody gets scared, there's no throwing up the horns or any of that. It's just a beat. It's just a
Yeah,
beat.
just
All right.
yep.
Sacrifices third beat off of Sean Beats beat tape. It's out now called Cold Hour. Let's jump right into it. Give us a what's the timelines like for you making a beat? Is it like something you bang out like, a day, hour? What's the timelines for you? What's your creative process like?
Um, mine's usually it's like maybe 30 minutes at the most,
Oh wow,
but
okay.
it just depends on how I'm feeling that day. So it may be like I may not want to add a lot of stuff to the beat, or if I do add a lot of stuff, it usually takes me about maybe an hour or so.
Wow. Okay, so you could bang out pretty much this tape in a day.
Pretty much.
Okay, okay. All right. Well, if that's a crazy rate of production. That's actually a skill to do that because I know some producers take a day for a beat. Some even take a week because they keep coming back. They leave it. They come back. Maybe they get a different melody or add some different kind of drums. So if you could bang something out like that, you could literally be dropping projects daily.
Yeah,
Is there a reason
but
why you're not like dropping projects left, right, and center like that?
um, more of like a job issue is kind of in a way.
Right.
Um, but yeah, that's really the main reason why. If I wasn't working, I would just drop out stuff every single day if I
Right.
could. So,
That's crazy. That's a crazy to be able to do that, like pop them out and they be dope, come out dope at the same time. Just
same time.
dropping a bunch of stuff is one thing, but making sure they're all dope is another thing. Have you ever
Yeah.
had an issue where one of your less or subpar beats, but an artist wanted it, but to you it was like, yeah, that's a throwaway, but someone else it was just fire.
Most of the time, most of the artists they really want my beats sometimes.
Right.
Um, it's I can't really mm, no, I never really had one of those
Okay.
situations, to be
Okay.
honest with you.
You have beats that you feel now, like you might have did it a year ago, and you thought it was dope then, but now it's like, this doesn't live
Yeah,
up to my 2021 Sean Beats status.
nah, I may just if it's that case, I may just go back and redo everything.
Okay. That's another gem actually, like going back to like 2015 beats, going back to 2016, and instead of just scrapping them, just go back and kind of give that extra little tweak on it, put the 2021 sauce on it and
Yeah,
modernize it. You know, it could have been an idea at 2016, but now with that extra little sauce or that extra little skills that you now acquired over the years, you turn it into
Mhm.
something different.
Yep. I never understood why producers would do that, like just get rid of beats if you know they could just go back and fix it. So
Right, right. I'm sure you have a crazy hard drive of beats.
yeah, actually, my computer is like done. I might actually get a new one too because this is about.
Right. Right. You got to get those out, man. Don't sit on beats, especially with NFTs and all this different technology out there now. It's like you just never know. Like something that you might not put a lot of value to, someone else might just think it's phenomenal, and
Yep.
you just might do something crazy. But I would just recommend any producer out there that has beats, just throw them out there. Like there could be sync situations, licensing situations. There's a lot of other things you can do other than just trying to get into the hot rappers' hands. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was always taught like just don't think a beat is for Lil Wayne or
Right.
Travis Scott. Always take a chance with a underground artist who is going to come up.
Right. They could be the next Travis Scott or Lil Wayne. They had to start
Right.
somewhere. You know what I mean? So it's always dope to build those relationships. But and aside from rapping as a whole, there's other lanes like getting it into film, getting it into movies, commercials, video games, internet advertisements, and whatnot. So if you have all that music, maybe get a manager or a partner or somebody that can commit to just getting it out there while you're working and doing what you got to do. They can just be focused on pushing that out there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Make something out of it. I mean, making $10 is more than making $0. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Worst case scenario.
Something.
You know what I mean? Um, who would if you had to pick your favorite beat ever? What would be your like, yo, this beat is my best beat, no matter not yours, but any beat, like your number one beat you ever heard.
Oh, for like a producer wise.
Right.
Um, can I name two of them?
All right.
Okay, so the first beat is by Wonder Girl. The
Hmm.
beat is called Fix. Them drums just hit so
Fix. Okay.
nice.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Okay.
And then the second beat is from the Neptunes. It's called it's by I'm Gonna Love You Better, but it was by LL Cool J, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I like that beat. It's very like mellow, it's a good vibe.
Yeah, I'm
So
hearing the drums on that. I'm listening to. I'm hearing the drums on that. Right. Yeah. That was fair. I did not know that was the Neptunes actually.
oh, you did?
Actually, okay. Now that I think of the drums, yes. At the time, I don't think I knew it was the Neptunes, but now that I think of the drums, yeah, it makes sense. That's definitely the Neptunes drums on that.
Yeah.
Taking me back with that one. Wow.
Man,
Wow.
I listen to that instrumental, every
That's
once
like
in a while.
that's the age when Anne-Marie was doing her thing, somewhere around that time period.
Yeah, the
Anne-Marie was going
Neptunes.
crazy and everybody. Very,
Yep,
that was a dope time in music. That was a change. That was a shift in music back in that era right there. But very dope.
yep.
All right, we're gonna get into Sam Hain.
Yeah, Sam Hain.
Same Sam. That's an actual person's name.
Nah, Sam Hain is a I don't know if you're a big fan or if you ever watched the Halloween Part 2. And
Probably.
in the movie he was like Sam Hain, the Lord of Dead in the summer. So I just felt like this beat represent that
Got you.
particular time. So
Got you.
that's why I named it Sam Hain. And this is the beat with me and JC Owens. We worked on together.
Okay. So it's a collabo. Shout out to JC Owens on this one. This
Yep.
is Sam Hain, fourth track off of Sean Beats beat tape out now called Cold Hour. Let's jump right into it. What's your experience been like learning about the business side of the production world, the copyrights and the publishing and the master recordings and sync and licensing? What's your current level of understanding of the game, and how did you come to that point? How did you get to that point?
I always taught myself, never get screwed over in the music industry, because the music industry, it's set up in a way where they're trying to own you pretty much. And with me, I always told myself when I get out there, just don't sign yet because, I'm not trying to be owned by anybody. I'm just trying to make good music and get paid at the same time.
Right, right, right. Any horror stories of people you know personally? I mean, everybody knows there's many stories out there. Hit Boys put out some stuff, Kanye's put out some stuff, but anybody
Mhm.
you know personally who's gone through like that horror stories, a producer that showed you like, yo, watch out for this, watch out for that.
Um, Me personally, I don't really have a lot of horror stories, but I have gotten so many advices from more experienced producers. Never sign anything. Make sure you get a lawyer to read over your stuff because you never know what you're signing. If you don't know how to read it, right? So that's been my whole thing. But horror stories, I've
Okay.
never heard anybody.
Right, right. Any issues with the streaming platforms? What's your current take on like the Spotify, SoundClouds, the titles? Like, how do you feel with either the compensation from the platforms or just the streaming lane in general?
Um, More of the copyright thing. Um, like I said, with picking this name out, I wanted to make sure that nobody else had this name. So I just more did a little research and make sure nobody else had it before I put the EP out. So for me, it's more of a copyright thing.
Okay, okay. With that being said, I mean the name itself, Sean Beats, that's something that maybe you might want to, capture
Copy,
as your own intellectual property. Why the name Sean
yeah.
Beats?
Well, funny story. The My first producer name was I don't know why, but it was Shawnee Boy Q. And then
Okay.
somebody told me, they was like, no, it was my sister. She was like, no, you can't use that. It's Schoolboy Q. I
Mm,
was like, at the time, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna name myself. So my real name is Nushan.
okay.
So I just separate the N out and just left Sean.
Right.
And we got Sean Beats. But with the spelling, I see a lot of people with beats in their name, like Q Beats.
Right.
Just
There's
a
a
lot of
thousand of
people.
them, thousands of them.
Yes, a thousand. And with my name, I wanted to keep it Beats, but spell it differently.
Right.
So, with two T's. So I can just be kind of different, but
Right. It's interesting what you mentioned, Shiny Boy. You said Shiny Boy Q
yeah.
because there's nothing from a legal perspective. There's nothing that can stop you or stop any. Like you can use that in a hip hop sense. Then sure, it might sound like okay, he's biting off of Schoolboy Q, but from a
Yeah.
legal perspective, that's two different names totally.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So I mean, Sis had a point, but she didn't have the whole story. Like, I mean, there's not nothing legally that someone could do from using that name. You could definitely use that name.
Yeah.
It's just from a hip hop perspective, the biting or copying someone's kind of style. That's kind
Hmm.
of where you get the flack from. Um, but it's dope. It's dope. Names are names, and you never know which name. I mean, any name like 50 Cent, for example. Like if you just thought of 50 Cent 20 years before there was an actual 50 Cent, you probably wouldn't have thought it was that cool of a name. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like any name sounds weird when you first hear like the game. Like who's gonna just name themselves the game? Like it would sound kind of weird until that artist came out and you seen what it's about and what he's representing. But just hearing the name of itself kind of sounds weird. A
Yeah.
Ghostface Killer. Before you heard of Ghostface Killer would sound weird. You know what I mean? So it's
Hmm.
interesting the names people choose. But yeah, yeah. So we're down to the last track. We got Voyages. This is the final track off the beat tape, Sean Beats tape. Any particular story or idea behind Voyages, how this track came to be, and why this is the final closing track of the beat tape?
This beat was more, it gives you like a more of an old school hip hop feel, like the boom bap era.
Right.
And the sample is from a producer by the name of Trax.
Okay.
He has a lot of dope samples. So I just felt like with this sample in particular, it fit the mixtape, and like I said again, it has a very old school vibe to it.
Okay, okay. Do you lean on that like the '70s soul, the Al Greens, the Stylistics, the Delphonics? Do you like sampling from that cloth of artists that is commonly used in hip hop?
Yeah, most definitely. I always love sampling like very old school vibes because my grandmother, who's no longer with me, passed away. She would listen to a whole lot of old school music, and I just picked up with that. And sometimes it may not be old school music, it may be, well, not old
She
school.
listened to good music. To you, it's
Yeah,
old school music. To her, it's just good music.
exactly, exactly. And I would sample maybe soul, but then it would be more of a sample like a lot of movie scores
Right.
too from back in the day.
Okay, okay. That's dope. Let's get into Voyages. I'm just imagining this track is going to take me to a zone. It just sounds like it's taking me somewhere. So let's jump right into it. This is Sean Beats. The tape is available on where's this? This is available all platforms, you said, right?
Yeah, all
Okay.
platforms except
Except
for
SoundCloud.
yeah.
Okay, we
Mhm.
getting the SoundCloud. We just hold tight. We getting there. We getting there. But everywhere else, the usual suspects, the titles, the Apples, Spotify's, we got you covered. So just go look. What's the easiest way to find you on any of those platforms? Just type in Sean Beats.
Yeah, you can type in Sean Beats or you can go on my Instagram
Okay.
and I have the links in the bio. They can just click on
Right.
that. It'll just take them to the mixtape.
Okay. Dope. Dope. All right. This is the final track from the beat tape. Tape is called Cold Hour. This is the final track called Voyages. This is Sean Beats, VA Zone. We on the beat tape breakdown. Let's get it. That sound like the stamp, the final stamp of approval, like to close it out, like that. That was the stamp, the seal of approval, just to seal the deal. Very, very
Yeah.
dope. That was a wise choice to close it out with that track.
Hmm.
Before we get out of here, I just want to ask, do people hit you up looking for a specific VA kind of a sound when they approach you, or if they check your style out? Are they looking for a specific sound that they associate with VA?
Lately they've been trying to hit me up on like a not more of a VA, but more like a darker tone. Um, it's very rare I have somebody hit me up say, "Hey, can you give me like a a VA sound?"
Okay.
But it's more been of something dark. So,
Right, right. We get that. Toronto gets that a lot. Like they want a specific, like a Wonder Girl sound, like or they want a Drake sound or OVO Toronto sound kind of thing. I'm sure the
yeah,
West Coast gets that, but it's all mixed and matched right now. Because I've been in Compton and I thought I was gonna hear like some West Coast traditional G-Funk or Dre or Dog Pound, and it was Atlanta in Compton. You know what I mean? So it's
yeah,
not what you expect. It's not what you think. Right now, it's just a mix mash, and everybody sounds like everybody, and anywhere sounds like anywhere. It's not
hmm,
before where it was kind of like a regional sound. So it's changing. It's a changing of the guard, and it's just a changing of the sound in general.
yep,
Because I remember going, as I said, being in Crenshaw and turning on the radio and hearing Drake all day. It's like, wow, this is not the LA I expected to hear. You know what I mean? But it's the changing of the game, changing of the guard. But it is what it is. But anyway,
yep.
this is Sean Beats. We want to thank you for rolling through.
Thanks,
You've been on
man.
the platform many times doing the battle thing. So very dope to have you on whenever you're with us on the battle. I hope you come through tonight. The unknown battle is gonna be
Yeah,
crazy. 16 producers flipping, chopping it up, doing what they do. It's gonna be a crazy battle tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
hmm,
I want to definitely thank you once again for coming through and previewing the Cold Hour beat tape, which is out now once again on all platforms except SoundCloud, but we're on our way to
yeah.
SoundCloud
It'll
shortly.
be up there pretty soon.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. Any final words you want to say to anybody tuning in? Of course, it's going to be on YouTube after, so you're going to have other people who are not on Twitch but are into YouTube. They can check it out on YouTube as well. But any final words you want to offer from the beat tape, your producer experience, or just to other producers in general?
Well, first off, I got my next sample pack coming out this week. And then second off, I'll just tell anybody out there who's a producer that's just on the come up, just keep going, never give up. You never know what's gonna happen. So,
True indeed, true indeed. Shoot your shot.
yep.
What's the worst that can happen? Shoot your shot, pitch it to whoever, and see what happens. But Sean Beats, we salute you once again. We'll catch you tonight at the unknown sample flip. Hope you're in the chat, saying what up to a few producers or whatnot, whatever the case is. But we'll catch you on the platform at a later date. If you have another beat tape dropping, let us know, and we'll
Okay.
definitely have you back on it. All right,
All right, man.
all
Thank
right,
you for having me on.
no doubt. Salute to VA.
Thank you.
Peace.